for our CEO Talk series this time, we are very lucky today to have Puan Anja Julia Abu Bakar. So Puan Anja Julia is a founder and also Social Impact Director of Athena Holdings in Berhad. I think the company also called as Athena Empowers, right?
Yeah, the brand name.
Okay, the brand name is Athena Empowers. So maybe I can give a brief introductions about what actually Athena Empowers do. So Athena Empowers is an accredited social enterprise company in Malaysia with a core mission to reduce menstrual poverty issues and to educate on eco-friendly and safe menstrual hygiene practice among women of different social groups. And Athena Empowers are actively giving awareness about the fundamental role that good menstrual hygiene management plays in enabling women and girls to reach their full potential. So this includes attention to a disposable system, the impact of material selections, cultural belief challenges related to discreetly washing and drying cloth material, waste management. So their role of menstrual hygiene education is to support the efforts for a healthier lifestyle. So Puan Anja, we could expect today the talk will be more related to women issues. But men don't go away. So men don't go away. This is an important topic which not many people in our society would like to talk about it at a higher level. So I'm sure it will benefit to many girls and women as well as men out there because you are sons, a husband, and a father to your daughter. Puan Anja, so with us today we have AIU staff, quite numbers of them, as well as our students. I think this is around 80 students or almost 90 students joining us today. They are excited to get a chance to hear from you today personally. As I introduced to some of our students, my students, about the social enterprise in Malaysia, most of my female students chose Athena Empowers as their favorite social business idea. So, and also for your information, Puan Anja, AIU students are coming from 40, almost 40 nationalities around the world. So we have like 80% of international students, and most of them underprivileged group. And I think this is a good platform for you to talk about this topic to all of us and to all the students today. Yeah. So without further ado, I would like to welcome Puan Anja, please.
Okay, thank you, Doctor, and a very good morning. Thank you, AIU, for having me this morning for my sharing session. I hope you will be bear with me for the next 1 hour and hope to hear lots of questions pertaining to social enterprise in general. And I always like to start my session with this quote. It's easy to make money. Yeah, for us entrepreneur, we can sell a pen that maybe costs us 10 cents, but we can sell it at 100 ringgit. Why? Because we know that we are not selling the pen, but we sell the value behind selling the pen. But of course, it's not an easy task for every entrepreneur to make a difference to the community or to the environment. Hi, Assalamualaikum. Good morning. My name is Anja Julia Abu Bakar. I'm the founder of Athena Empowers. And I like to call myself as entrepreneur for society. I will talk to you more about it, why I call myself as entrepreneur for society. Can we move to the next slide? Okay, the topic today is how can a social enterprise or social business being part of this ecosystem, you can also like together with the entrepreneur or academician or even communities to create more impact without borders. How can I mean someone from a small town in Banting can actually make a difference for a girl in Nepal or even in South Africa. So let's hear more about it. Next slide. Okay, Athena is a social enterprise that empower girls through reusable sanitary pads. And I am also, next slide, the recently elected as a new president for Chamber of Social Enterprise Entrepreneur Development, an NGO that was set up to improve the social entrepreneurship ecosystem in Malaysia. Basically, we are actually the voice of for social enterprise in Malaysia to government, especially to the policymaker. And as an entrepreneur, I'm a very super active networker. I've into networking since if I remember, since 2010. I was still working for full time back then, but I already somehow like no, I become entrepreneur one day and decided to just join few and network with many women NGOs, especially on entrepreneurship, so that I can at least have an idea or learn from business expert entrepreneurs out there. And I always believe that as an entrepreneur, if you don't network enough, you are not working. So networking is part of my current practice. Like I must have at least one active networking. And networking is not just like simply go social networking. Every networking that I attended, they must have a ROI. I mean, since I need to, my main role is to also bring leads to the company, or else we don't have more new businesses. And it always have, for me, networking is IPA, or income produce activity. So that's what networking meant for us. So now let me just share a bit about my story, my journey into social entrepreneurship. Okay, we can go to the next slide. All right. 22, 23 years ago, I was a college dropout. So I'm 46, by the way. And but having a big dream, having really passionate want to go abroad, I somehow managed to save money and finally went abroad. So when I was in UK, at first I decided to study, but I realized that good in academics. So I decided to just work and learn. And somehow a year later, I found that because I mix a lot with students, especially masters and PhD students in UK, I um, I learned that education is empower. I mean, you can only be empowered if you are educated. And I decided to return back to Malaysia and finally, continue study and graduate in human resource management. And I got good job, work with multinational companies where I got to pursue my dreams to, work in a big corporation and travel the world. But it's always not enough until got this idea that later on pushed me to move to this entrepreneurship. All right, next slide. So I was contacted by my former lecturer back then in 2006. I was introduced by him to read a book of Blue Ocean Strategy. So it was quite interesting because he said he knew that he remembered that I told him that I would like to become an entrepreneur. So he actually asked me to read the book, and that's when I want to create something new. I mean, after reading the book, obviously, I'm like wanting to start a new business, something that unique and something that can make me rich. That's the only goal that I had last time. I want to be reason why I'm into entrepreneurship, because I want to become a filthy rich. And so I Googled just to get like more ideas in what type of business. But I end up, of course, as a big active networker, I also network not only offline but online, and somehow I belong to this mothers group in the US. But I just became a silent reader. And what interesting is when one day one of the mom announced that she have just made a set of sanitary pad for her 11-year-old daughter. I was like, what do you mean by made? Why can you just buy and give your daughter? That's when I learned about the existing of cloth pad. I mean, a sanitary pad that fully made from using fabric. So it was like quite interesting. This is something new because the group that I joined is actually a group of mom that believe in natural. I mean, they are not into chemical. If one of their kids have fever, they will go to alternative, not like taking Panadol or something else. So I did my research, and it took me about 8 months to study about what suitable fabric to make the sanitary product, and I found bamboo fabric. And it took me another 3 months, 8 months to research on fabric, and 3 months to find a supplier. And finally, I found a supplier from the US, one work at home mom, because she's the only one that can sell, that I can buy per meter, meaning minimum 1 meter. Like when I found suppliers in Korea or China, they can only sell at 1,000 kilo or 1,000 meter, which I totally can't really can't afford back then. So I spent about 500 ringgit, but when the material arrived, I have another challenge. I don't know how to use sewing machine. You have this dream want to make something that I mean like cloth pad, but you don't know how to use sewing machine, and that's another challenge. And I went to many places. I mean, like I went to few shops where these ladies they actually laugh at me when I ask them to make the pad for me, to make the sample actually. And they said, why would you want to make a sanitary pad? You can just buy. I mean, end up they just laugh at me. And until one of my friend connected me to this guy. He was I mean, an ex-fashion designer. He's graduated from one local university. Somehow, I mean, he took drug and was sent to prison. So he's actually ex-convict lah. So I went to him, asked if he can help me design and make the samples. So he just said he'll try and give him 1 week to make them. And to my surprise, less than a week he contacted me. So imagine our first sanitary pad was designed and made by a male. And I was so happy. From the first 500 ringgit that I invest, he made 37 pieces. And that's when I started to call. I think that was in somewhere in 2008. And I get few friends and relatives to test the product, and I look for someone who have allergic reaction, or someone that environment conscious. And only today, the activity that was done in 2008 is called validation. I have no idea that all the terms back then. And I told them that to get back to me after 3 months to give your feedback. And to my surprise, in less than a month, all of them, about 5 of them, came back to me and said they really like the feeling. They have experience using them during their period. And they asked when can I start to do a as a commercial. And I was so happy because I myself tried, but of course I don't want to brag. And having their feedback was really good and motivate me to buy more. So I spent almost 2,000 ringgit for the second purchase. And this guy made about 170 pieces. And I tried to sell to more friends, and these new friends are those referred by the existing user, the first batch that use the product. And finally, only on the third batch, I created my first online store on Facebook, officially on 30th of October. I mean, as 30th October 2009. So it was like 11 years ago. Started my first, online shop selling the product. I was still working back then. So it was really tiring but exciting journey because I need to, I mean, rush after working hours to go home to start open and run my business, so-called business. And in early 2010, I was approached by my one of my customers said that I should enter a competition held by MOSTI, Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation, about my product. So I did some research, and back then there's no washable, reusable product that use a bamboo fabric. One of our main core fabric that we use in our product is bamboo. Why bamboo? Because it's have a very high absorbent and antimicrobacteria. So and most of my customers, they love using the fabric. It's really soft and easy to wash too. And if you go to the next slide, uh, in October 2010, I won the Malaysia Innovation Award for the product that we created. And since then, I got so many, interviewed, exposed, on magazine, newspapers, even radio and television. And I think somewhere in, because I won innovation in 2010, my first featured in the newspaper is in January 2011, January 2011. And somehow in August 2011, I got coverage on Newsrate Times, and one of the chief editor back then was one of the reporter to try the product and give her testimonial in the next 3 months. And August, September, October, okay, November, November 2011, when she finally, uh, I mean, shared her experience in November that she have tried and tested the product. So her testimonial went across nationwide, and that it was when I received a call from this missionary from Sabah. I believe after they read about the product or the testimonial, they somehow would like to give a try and called me, ask if I can sponsor the product. Actually, in September, that year I just left my company that I worked for 12 years, and it was like 3 months fully running the business on my own. And to sponsor a big amount of quantities is quite hard because I like just started, and I a bit reluctant to sponsor because they asked for 3 sets. So back then, one set is around 150 ringgit. So I was like, obviously hesitate to sponsor. At least they should at least buy 50%, but they said they don't have budget. It took me a while, but somehow deep inside, like I'm talking to myself, I said like, look, there must be a reason why they reach out to you, and there must be a reason why they are directed to me and ask for sponsorship. And just follow my guts to just shut my eyes and sponsored all 33 sets to all these girls. So if you can look at the next slide, these are where these are the communities, the girls in Botiting Hostel in Pedalam in rural Sabah, which is in Nabawan in district of Keningau. And these are the for the girls, right? These are the kids are actually live about 1-2 hours from school, and the missionary have actually built the hostel. You can Google about this Botitin hostel, about the missionary that have helped and built the hostel for the kids. And if you go to the next slide, finally in December they have received the product. So these are all the happy faces. And it's just like a week before Christmas, a week or two before Christmas, where they have received the product. So I was quite happy. But then, of course, it doesn't stop there. You are curious about the girls, like why I mean they are that the missionary sounds so desperate, wanting for us to sponsor the product. And I did my own research. Of course, my best friend back then was Mr. Google. I mean, until today is Mr. Google. And I do a lot of my own research, and that's when I learned about thousands of Malaysian girls. I don't talk about worldwide. Malaysian girls miss 5 to 7 days of school in a month when they have their period. So you can go to the next slide. And especially girls 13 to 17, and they in average they miss 5 to not 5 to 7 days. I mean like 60 days of school in a year compared to boys. So um, I decided to do my own investigation, and I uh, go and meet the girls myself, and I asked, I mean, are you making excuses not going to school? You can actually use towels or whatever it is. I mean, as an alternative. I mean, don't just tell me that you can't buy centripede. I mean, the question was from a person that came from, I mean, from city. Because I was born and I mean studying in the city, and I don't have many like experience with the rural people. So rural communities. So that was actually my eye opener when these girls, they actually love to go to school, and because they don't have any other activities. Because even in the city, if the kids nowadays, if they have reason why they don't want to go to school, they have gadgets, they have Netflix, and I mean and everything. But these children, I mean students in rural, they don't have many choices. And that's when I also discovered that for sanitary pad in Peninsula, it costs us about 2, 3 or 4 ringgit most for 10 pieces of pad. But to them in Sabah Sarawak, it costs much higher, and 5 ringgit for them. They actually decided to use that money to buy food like bread that can last them a week. But if pet, I mean they it's okay if they just sacrifice a week of school rather than spend that 5 ringgit to buy sanitary pads. So when asked what do they use, obviously they share the same thing. They use towel, they have use whatever old from old code they make themselves. But something that really made me, I mean, one of the turning point is when I learned about this girl using coconut husk, sabut kelapa. They stuff it in the socks and use as a substitute to centipede. So something that I really can't accept. I mean, like, why would I mean, for us women using that kind of substitute. And I was so glad, and I feel so, I mean, glad that that this missionary contacted me, and I feel so, I don't know, the feeling that having to sponsor the product is totally different. It's like different story. That's when more, I mean, other than that, it's not about the pet issue. Um, some of the girls, I mean, even they have used the substitute, they have used towels or whatever. Some of them do leak and stain their school uniform. So when this happened, the kids, being kids, they laugh at them and make fun. So, and this girl, imagine at age of 12, 13, 14, very low self-esteem. decided not only to, decided not to go to school, but some of them drop out. Imagine at 13, 14. So when further and to ask the mother especially, why you allow, not directly lah, why they allow their daughter drop out from school, but the answers was simple. Oh, they already know how to write, to read, it's okay, and no need for them to go to universities, because I do mention about if they can, they do well, they can go to continue their studies, can go to the university or whatsoever. And uh, for the mothers, their response was like, no, it's okay, because I don't see them can go any further. So that answer was, actually really hit me, because if you allow this, you will let your daughter to continue live like what you live. So how can we, since I heard, their explanation, can break the cycle of poverty? No, right? So something needs to be done. So when it just happened when I came back, not like came back, like back to KL. If we go to the next slide, I got invitation by UKM to, because I do share a lot about my journey in with this girl, and about sponsoring pets. So I received an invitation to to UKM to display and share about my product. So if you can go to the next slide. Uh, that was my first time introduced to Prof. Yunus. And from him, I learned about the word social business. He was actually invited to give talk on social business, and I realized there are so many foreign peoples came to Puri Pujangga in UKM, that I will have no idea who he was until after the session, when I heard about few of my friends talk about him. So when back, I Googled as usual. I Googled and was like, wow. I mean, such an honor to meet him and to talk to him, and for him to tell me that if I tweak a bit about my how I run my business, I can run as a social business. So an honor of course, like, I have no idea who he was, but knowing him after, I was still grateful, because from him I learned about social business. So I Googled, and from the search I found the word social enterprise, and I make my own comparison. I take notes and write what's the difference between social business and social enterprise, and I think social enterprise fits our model, and both good. It's just that because I think when you want to grow, you need investors, and investors also want some money from the investment, although they also support the impact. And I believe this is the good model for us. And so back to design the business as a social enterprise. If you go to the next slide, we need to first identify what's the problem, right? So the problem is girls have no access to sanitary pad, and girls miss 60 days of school in a year, and because of that, they don't have interest to go to school, and low achievement and high dropout rates for girls, especially from the rural areas. So what we do, if we go to the next slide, Athena provide a sustainable solution to tackle monthly challenge of our marginalized girls. So this is one way of reducing menstrual poverty, and among the marginalized girls from the community of Orang Asli, and also in the rural Sabah and Sarawak. And our girl empowerment program that we launched in January 2013, the same month, it's like a week after I met Prof. Yunus, is to it's a campaign to that every customer that buy our set, a girl in need will be sponsored. You can see in the next slide. Yeah. So that was first launched in January 2013. And 3 years down the road, I mean, after being so active, visit many villages, orang asli communities, those girls in Sabah, Sarawak. And if you go to the next slide, I am honored to receive the Outstanding ASEAN Woman Entrepreneur in Hanoi by the Vice President of Vietnam. And the year later, if you go to the next slide, I'm honored to be part of the 8 social entrepreneurs selected from 8 different countries, fully funded by the Swedish government for their social enterprise forum in Stockholm. And if you go to the next slide, that was my first like international journey where I received more invitation to Vietnam, to Stockholm, even to the Oxford University for the MBA students at Site Business School, and of course in Malaysia, most of received many invitations from the local university. And in next slide, in March 2017, I was one of the top 10 Malaysian women social entrepreneur by Top 10 of Malaysia. And the same year, 2017, next slide, I received invitation again to Stockholm, and this time to become mentor for the 8 selected social entrepreneurs from 8 different countries. And the proudest moment, because in 2016, I was the first Malaysian or Asian to be invited to Stockholm, because most of them, they invited social entrepreneurs from African continent, South American continent, or even in India. But I'm among the first Malaysian. After a few years, they invited me. But 2017 was really proudest moment, because my mentee, if you can see the first one right in front, on the right is Nina, one of the mentee that I groomed her, introduced her into social enterprise in November 2014. So it was proudest moment lah to have second Malaysian who happened to be my mentee, because I don't have any involved in having her to be selected. Is all done by the Swedish people, nothing to do with me. But so happy that she was also selected. So now on social enterprise, maybe I believe that few of speakers before talk about social. Let me just go through it. From my own version. Running this as a practitioner, running the business. So social enterprise, if we go to the next slide, my simple explanation is that a business that benefit community and planet. Because if you Google, there'll be like 2, 3, paragraph of explanation on social enterprise. But for me, as simple as a business that benefit community and or planet. All right. And if we go to the next slide, I think this one very straightforward. Everyone knows that business sell their service or product, and through profit that they make, they can sustain. And if next slide, we also know that NGO assist in more on social mission. And when we combine, if we go to the next slide, we have this hybrid business model called social enterprise, where it's focused to give more impact and self-sustain through sales, selling their sales of product. And in Malaysia, under Ministry of Entrepreneur Development and Cooperative, you can now register your social enterprise. You can now register your social enterprise as long as you have these 3 criteria, that you have a clear social mission, and you have a sustainable business model, plus you have your target beneficiary. As long as you clear all these 3 criteria, you can now register your social enterprise. As of April 2020, there are about 303 companies that have registered and get their SE basic, and 29 have been accredited. it takes about 2 to 3 years from SE Basic to get accredited by the ministry. Then you can straight away apply to get SE Plus. That's when you will get the tax exempt benefits lah from the Ministry of Finance. So there are 5 models that widely used under a social enterprise model. I may just like go through what type of the most 5 that used worldwide. So the first one is cross subsidization. When if you go to the next slide, one of the cross subsidization model that I really admire is the one in India, Aravind Eye Care System. I mean, it started by Dr. V for their eye hospital. You can read a lot. You can YouTube about Aravind Eye Hospital. And second model is you can go to the next slide. Buy and give. One of the example here is Mango Chili, a Thai restaurant from Thailand that here in KL is in Bangsa South. That buy and give is also like a one-to-one lah. And this mango chili, what they do, they for every place that they sell that day, every place sold. For example, if that day they sold about 200 plates of dishes, they will sponsor 200 food packs of food to the and give it to the kids of from the Bangsa PPR communities, to the kids. And not only by giving free meals, they also support the farmers. They buy directly, not through third party. So a lot of corporates, go to their restaurant because to know that the values that they offer back. And microfinancing, if we go to the next slide, my friend from Hanoi, she actually the founder of Bloom Micro Ventures, where they provide, they enable entrepreneurs by giving business loans, small loans, because she's actually live in UK, but decided to, go back to Hanoi, to one of to the village. That's when she gave microloans to the villagers who want to buy, to use the money to buy livestock or to do some renovation. And what she did, she just do marketing and get all these European people from abroad to come and stay at her village. So quite interesting. You can also YouTube that Blue Micro Ventures. And another my favorite model is inclusive business, where we have Dialogue in the Dark. Dialogue in the Dark is actually from Germany. But the local, my favorite local inclusive business is like Autism Cafe. We also have Kindness Cookies, Silent Teddies among the inclusive business. Other than that, okay, we have Masala Wheel. We also have Discover Muay Thai. So you can Google or invite them for as a next speaker. And another favorite is, if you go to the next slide, is Embrace, where these are the model that designed for extreme affordability. So I would like to share video on Embrace in the next slide. If you can play the video, Munira. A very short video. There's no sound. Or maybe if there's technical issue there, maybe you can just Google about Embrace baby warmer. Is then yeah. How about the next video? Do we have the same problem ke? Mm. Never mind. The second one, you can also go YouTube ARAM, AARAMBH, where they provide this help desk for kids in rural India. Never mind. It's very short video. That what I want to share from these two videos. If you go to the next slide, the feeling that I mean after you watch both videos, and actually any social enterprise videos that you watch, you will notice that the similar things is that it's all happy ending. How I mean, not only social enterprise, social business, even NGO, even a person can make a difference and I mean change to another person's life. I mean totally make a difference. So next slide. The question is, how can we turn problems into business opportunities? Or maybe just opportunities, not necessarily you run a business, but obviously for me as an entrepreneur, I always see problems as a business opportunities. But on top of that, you can create change as well. As easy as this picture, if we go to the next slide, I think this is a common view by a lecturer, right? Especially after lunch hour, where you see your student become very like, I mean, become a thinker all of a sudden. I mean, look very like I mean, this what I can say. This is like common view for some lecturers, especially for those who run class after lunch or maybe morning class. So, how can you solve? I mean, as a student, like student with entrepreneur mind, how can you see this as a business opportunity? How can you provide a solution that won't make your lecturer angry to you? uh, what what alternative? I mean, of course, student we don't know. Maybe they stay up very late because of study. There are so many reasons why they are so sleepy the next morning. So and somehow it didn't give good feeling to the lecturer if they see most of. I mean, they see their student sleep kan, but we don't know, maybe they are thinking we don't want to be so negative, right? But as a if I'm a student, then if I want to grab a business opportunity by providing solution, and as a student I think this will be the best solution. If you go to the next slide, to sell this eye sticker. So how can it help? Because maybe you can sell a pair of eye sticker at RM1. And if you go to the next slide, this is the result. So it is a very good business model, right? So you solve two pains, the student pain on the lecturer's pain. And so everyone will be happy. I mean, by just simple solution, you sell eye sticker to them, you can make lots of money. But not only for student, even for staff. If you go to the next slide, uh, I mean, you can just sleep, provided you are not snoring lah, yeah? Without being disturbed by your colleague. However, although I mean, of course, this is only for fun. I mean, but ethically you need to sell something that of course I mean give benefit lah. Not only, I mean, this is like fun, but maybe we find something that more ethical lah. But somehow what our business you can still make good. If you go to the next slide, that for every sales that you make, you can still create an impact by like this slide. We have a company called Vision to Learn, where they give eyeglasses to I mean a child in need. So you can still create an impact, right, and make change to other people. So there's always positive behind of anything. You can still create a lot of impact, even from a simple as eye sticker. All right. So next slide. So how can we have a clear impact goal? How to design one? How to visualize one and have a very clear impact goal. And in business, for us, we don't only have business vision and mission. We also have our, impact vision. What we like, the change that we want to see in the next 5, 10, 20 years. And of course, in business, we want it to grow so that if we grow, we can help support many girls. And also this kind of questions, what value that we want to offer and what will makes us stands out. There are so many, like sanitary pad producer, I have so many competencies, but how can I stands out from them? I cannot say that running a social enterprise, I can be different, but our client said so, and but our focus is more about how can we benefit. So in Athena, our like when we do planning, budgeting for the following year, it's not about how many sales that we want. We always move by the numbers of girls that we want to reach. And Alhamdulillah, year 2020 is the year that we managed to provide to 1,000 to sponsor 1,000 girls. Normally, average we can only sponsor 200 to 300 a year, but this year we have actually breakthrough lah. We during COVID, we be able to sponsor to 1,000 girls. So Alhamdulillah, we always said that it's not the amount of money that we want to make, it's about the amount of the number of beneficiaries that we want to reach out. So we know that by if we hit 1,000 girls, that we already hit the profit that we want to set, or even numbers of sales that we want to achieve. And also, most importantly, for every business owner is to know or be conscious where are they now, presently, or where are they in the past, and most importantly, future. You have to be a visionary. You have to be someone who that be able to have this talent, so-called talent, see where you are in the next 10, 20 years. And always ask this question to yourself. If you go to the next slide, is your goal truly future fit? So I always refer to Anita Roddick, founder of Body Shop, where she have this vision that she wants her business really sustain. And true enough, even until today, even the company has been bought by L'Oreal, they still maintain the values because they believe they don't want to change anything what Anita Roddick has started 40 years ago. If you go to the next slide. Okay, so how can we make a difference in the next 40 years? Not 10 years, not 5 years, but see, you can also visualize where your, the change that you want to create, the impact that you want to see in the next 40 years. So if possible, put 50 years or maybe 100 years, like Nestle, right? And because today's customer, if we go to the next slide, you cannot simply sell all the benefit of features, but and you cannot assume what you think is important. But the most importantly for our customers nowadays is what's relevant. Why it is why they want to be part of your cost, why they must buy your product. So it's no longer about benefit or features. You are cheaper than our competitor. No, it's all about how by purchasing your product, you can actually make them feel good. And today, if you go to the next slide, we have global socially conscious consumer where 63% of them are younger generation, where they are under the age of 40, and 66% of them are green or environment conscious. And these are the generation that willing to pay more for socially responsible product or services. So this is really an opportunity for many of you, especially students who see themselves as an entrepreneur, maybe now or maybe after you graduate. So if you go to the next slide, all these socially conscious consumer, they don't want to be sold, but they want to feel a part of something. So how can they associate with your product? How can they be the champion of your product? And as an entrepreneur, you have to be, always on the move. You need to know what's happening out there. So if you, in my next slide, you will see I shared about the global goals. Next slide, please. And another next slide. So you see 17 of sustainable development goals, which was introduced by United Nations in September 2015 to replace Millennium Development Goal. I was quite lucky and grateful that when I was invited to be one of the panel during the launch of SDG in Stockholm for the Scandinavian countries. And actually, that was my first time introduced to SDG. I have no idea that this goal exists before. And immediately, the first question came into my mind. If you go to the next slide, how can I integrate this SDG into my business? Can you move to the next slide? Yeah, that's the first question. Immediately after, after the session, I asked myself, how can Athena integrate this SDG goals to our business model? And I immediately text my partners to have an urgent video call. So that day I said, okay, I want both of you to together with me study about this SDG and which part of the goal that we can use and integrate with Athena. And if you go to the next slide, we back then we finally agreed to have these 5 goals to be integrated to our business model, which is number 3, 4, 5, 10, and 12. For our social mission, our goals are to have improved good health and well-being, to provide quality education, more on menstrual hygiene education, and to empower more young girls and women. That's for our social mission. And for our business mission, we are supporting number 10 and 12. So you can read more. And most importantly, for whoever that wanted to start a mission or to start a social enterprise or NGO, you must be able to identify what's your golden circle. You can YouTube this with Simon Sinek punya video. You know what you can sell, you know how you can sell, but why you do what you do. So the purpose behind everything, because we cannot simply do something without knowing the purpose, right? So be clear of your purpose and be clear of the impact that you want to create. I think that's the basic for everyone, whether you want to run a social enterprise or not, whether you want to start an NGO or maybe a good cause. You must answer the why should I run this campaign, why should I involve, and what are the impact, what do you want to see the result from having this purpose to run a cause. And of course, in social business or social enterprise, if you go to the next slide, the most important thing that you need to learn or know is theory of change. For me, this is like heart of every social enterprise, social business. You need to be very clear. The last the last one, the three, with apples can. That is the impact that you want to see, the change that you want to see. It's all start with the seeding, the right seeding. What soil that you use, what type of seed, and this is from the resources. When you identify an activity, what processes that you must go through, what input that you need to know to put, and then what's the output. How many trees that you want to plant, what type of fruits that you want to have, and then the outcome. How many, people that you support, the farmers, that you have be able to pay them, to give them good income, and then and how it actually have changed the whole community, whereby by providing the job to these farmers, they can have enough money and send all their kids to school and to even to university. So you have to have this kind of mind to be very clear about every processes, from the seed that you want to plant until the type of a tree or the impact that you want to see in the next 10, 20, or even 40 years. And next slide, you have to be very clear who are your customers. There are two types of customers. One is the one that paying you, your either your client, corporate client, or a direct customer. But the second group is your beneficiary. They are actually your customer that you need to take care of. And I mean, from how can you also make an impact to both your paying customer and also to your beneficiary, and to be able to identify their pain. If you can go to the next slide, what particular pain does your product or services get rid of? So this need to be answered for both, for your client, for your paying customer, or for your beneficiaries. This is, I think, this is what my I can say my strength in creating from the 9 block of business model canvas. I think value proposition is my strength, and be able to identify the clear value proposition so that it will attract your customers to decide and to be loyal to your product. Not one done that I want to brag, but I mean, I've learned it since since 2012, 13, and I like through many processes, I somehow have become good at it. It's all practice. Practice make perfect. And if you go to the next slide, it's time to take action. Enough of me, like enough for us to sell our story. I mean, the first 2 years you can like share your journey, how you started, who you want to impact. But then after 2 years, 3 years, or now even 5, 6 years, because Athena has fully become social enterprise in July 2015, 4 years after I started, and now after 5 years, what our customers or client want to see? They don't want to hear all the sad story, right? They want to hear our achievement, the change that we have made to our beneficiaries, to the communities. So if you go to the next slide, how Athena have actually starting from sell product. We have come up with many products from sanitary pad. We now have baby diaper, we have adult diaper, and we now also sell programs. The product known as Athena Empowers, and programs is called Athena Reach, where we have two separate design program for young girls aged 11 to 17, and also to the woman, rural woman. And if you go to the next slide, as of December 2019, we have reached to almost 2,000 actually girls. Because this report was prepared by my partner in October. So December actually we have hit nearly 2,000, 1,900 something lah in December. And on the economic impact, because we need to also keep on monitor with our beneficiaries. Because Athena, we have our impact investors, so we are also need to send impact report to them every quarterly. And thanks to them, we do continuous monitoring, and we have actually helped remove nearly 500,000 of waste to our landfill when our beneficiary keep using our product. So that was a very good news, and it motivates us to make more, so we can sponsor more sanitary pads. And now not only the girls in Malaysia have benefited, we have also start to sponsor girls in Cambodia. And our customers, accumulatively, we have also saved almost 500,000 from purchase our the wash to the disposable product. And this is where our campaign, the aim of our campaign is to get them switched from a throwaway culture to reusable culture. And today, if you go to the next slide, we have worked with many partners and have our product all across the globe. If you go to the next slide. And of course, we are coming with the market expansion. We have a lot of agents and distributors out there, and we are still doing R&D to introduce our new product. Hopefully by first quarter of 2021. It's supposed to be this year, but due to COVID, a lot of things has to be postponed. And inshallah, in first quarter or maybe in first month of second quarter, we will introduce the new product under Athena. And through my experience, when I run programs with young girls, I always notice that the mothers or their elder sister join our program. And when we repeatedly went to their villages, so one day we were approached by them, by the among the mothers. Actually, the mothers very young, because even the kids at 11, the mom is still in their 30s. So they asked me why I always come and do program with the young girls. Why can't I do something for them? And Alhamdulillah, April 2017, KBS, International Youth Center, has actually approached me to run a same program to train the trainer program, to train the orang asli youth to become our trainer. I realized that when I go to the orang asli communities, although I try to speak slow in bahasa, but it's still tough for them to understand because it's not their normal language. And having the youth to become my trainer, I was really grateful, and I was thankful that I am now have my own trainers from the orang asli community youth to run the program. And then that's when I started to being approached by many corporates. So if you go to the next slide, this is our program on rural women economic empowerment. We are approached, work together with AIU to empower the on economic part, where we train the women to become social enterprise, so they can also give support to their communities and make more money. And we are happy that after a year, not only they have saving, because this was the aim for them to have a saving account and to save at minimum 10 ringgit a month. And today, what makes us very proud is that after 2 years, 2 years plus, not only they have saving account, they also have be able to do higher purchase. They buy car, and recently they shared with us that they have also opened current account. So it was really like something that you can't really, how grateful we are to see them grow and also, improve their life. And because of that, we realized that we have actually scaled up our impact from running program to younger sponsor pets to move to the women economic empowerment. So I have this opportunity to be invited to Amsterdam to share with them our own experience, how we can also, all these 43 women social entrepreneurs from 33 countries, we can also make a change, make a difference by and scale up our impact. So because we have gone through that, we have moved from one impact to another creation of impact, and everyone can also scale up. And due to that, I have been invited to, if you go to the next slide, engaged by one airline, international airline, to train the rural women in head of NGOs in Tanzania, how they too can become, their NGO can become sustainable, financially sustainable, using the social enterprise or social business model. Actually, every NGO can become a social business, but some of them might have issue if they turn into entity, business entity. So they would like to remain as NGO, but they also want to become financial sustainable. And the aim of the funder is to reduce their grant amount to this NGO. For example, if they used to give 100,000 of dollars to this NGO, they want to reduce to 90,000 the following year, and reduce and reduce and reduce, so that they, they still support but reduce the amount to see that they can really see them grow. And I was really honored through, for the past 5 years, the working with girls and women have got me invited to the White House in September last year as part of the 18 global women leaders and the Women Global Development and Prosperity Initiative, and hosted by former advisor to the president, Miss Ivanka Trump. And it's a 5 years program. It still continue because it's a program under state government, although it's no longer under Trump. But we still have our report on how we can make change to our, for me, for Malaysian women, especially women in the rural areas. And so it leads to my last slide. And I have this one quote that I always believe with, that I personally believe that a social enterprise or social business is the soul of social enterprise, social business. We look for is entrepreneur. It's all about connecting our why and how can it be used authentically to help others. Everyone can have a great product or services, but if you can't connect to your life purpose, you will feel flat. So I think how someone who are not like very well conversed in English, someone from rural, from Banting town, can make it to the White House. So I think everyone can make a difference. Everyone can, using this platform to create impact, not only in Malaysia but across the world. So thank you very much.